Hello and welcome to the Geek Show for a new series in which, instead of reviewing the big new games, we take a look at what they are and suggest you a couple of alternatives too. Substitute reviews, I guess you'd call them. Today's the turn of is the upcoming game from Sucker Punch, Ghost of Tsushima. I think it's their first release since the early days of the PlayStation 4 with Infamous and its DLC short game expansion. What is Ghost of Tsushima? According to the press release, in the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire has laid waste to entire nations along their campaign to conquer the East. Tsushima Island is all that stands between mainland Japan and a massive Mongol invasion fleet led by the ruthless and cunning general Khotun Khan. As the island burns in the wake of the first wave of the Mongol assault, samurai warrior Jin Sakai stands as one of the last surviving members of his clan. He is resolved to do whatever it takes at any cost to protect his people and reclaim his home. He must set aside the traditions that have shaped him as a warrior to forge a new path, the path of the warrior, and wage an unconventional war for the freedom of Japan. It goes on to say, venture beyond the battlefield to experience feudal Japan like never before. In this open-world action-adventure, you'll roam vast countrysides and expansive terrain to encounter rich characters, discover ancient landmarks, and uncover the hidden beauty of Tsushima. Explore meticulously crafted regions showcasing diversity of life on the sprawling island, from billowing fields to tranquil shrines to ancient forests, villages, and stark mountainscapes. Find peace in the quiet moments of natural harmony and solace in the moments you'll share with the people you help along the way. It seems to be mashing together a couple of things. On the one hand, it's an open world game. It gets rid of some conventions like having a line on the map to guide you where you need to go. It seems in a lot of the early material, wind is the guiding force. And you can play it two ways, as that press release described. You can go traditional samurai, engage in head-to-head battles, or you can employ the way of the ghost, which is much more stealthy. So, how successful that is, we'll see when the reviews are out, shall we? One of the big selling points as well, that it's available in black and white mode, like samurai movies. The thing that bugs me about this is not the inclusion of this feature, is that everybody who says, "Oh, I can't wait to play this game in samurai mode. I love samurai movies." Yet all they can talk about is Kurosawa movies. There's more to samurai cinema than those that Akira Kurosawa directed. Check them out. Loads are available. Check out Criterion's selection of samurai movies. One in particular I adore, Sword of Doom. Check that out. Check out the whole subgenre. Don't pass off Kurosawa as knowing all of samurai movies. Moving on. But as far as alternatives, let's just go straight into it, shall we? The first one is a ninja game. I could have went in all sorts of directions for this, but at least when I'm doing this list, I want the games to be at least semi-accessible. So the first ninja game I'm going to talk about is Ninja Gaiden 2. Started life on... This is the second coming of Ninja Gaiden, I'd say, because it was originally on the 16-bit consoles. However, Ninja Gaiden 2, or Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, as it might be also known, is about Ryu Hayabusa. I'm not going to go into the story because it's of passing importance, really. What's more important is the gameplay loop. Admittedly, it's very much in the vein of your Devil May Cry, your Bayonettas, that style of game, in the sense that you control a very strong guy who's incredibly good at juggling and incredibly good at combat. But the thing that makes those games stand out is the fact that the combat is so smooth, so responsive, and it genuinely does an amazing job of making you feel powerful, and that it hasn't really dated a day, really. It feels as fresh and as new and as invigorating as ever. It's been dropped for another franchise under Team Ninja, but we'll come to that later. But for now, number one for alternatives to Ghost of Tsushima is Ninja Gaiden 2, or Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. Number 2, completely different aspect of gaming I'm coming from here, a completely different direction, but also Japan produced. It's Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I went with this one because of the nature of the stealth. In Ghost of Tsushima, it's feudal Japan, 13th century Japan, warring states, all this stuff is the backdrop. However, it's all rural, it's all in the countryside, which is what led me to Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. It is in the jungle, which isn't the same thing. However, it is using nature more than hiding behind boxes, hiding and timing things. It's about using the natural world, and I think as far as using that as an alternative to Ghost of Tsushima, which again, it's early and it's a lot of throwing sticks and throwing stones to distract people, I think as an alternative, and as an alternative whose stealth honestly might be better, I think Snake Eater is a very interesting bet. And it's also from an era when, I guess there's no way to say this without sounding baiting, or like I'm trying to trap people, but it's when Hideo Kojima hadn't fully gone Hideo Kojima. And the last one is from Team Ninja again, but it's as close a proxy as I can get for a game which values swordsmanship, and it's not entirely alienating. I could have also went for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, but I went with this because I personally value the way that Team Ninja do combat. They are one of the more underrated presences as far as doing swordsmanship in video games. There's too many that... I'm not bashing Devil May Cry when I say this, but the nuance of the combat isn't the prime directive of those games. Don't get me wrong, the combat in games like Devil May Cry is complicated, but it's more blunt force than nuance, if that makes sense. Whereas Team Ninja and how a sword feels and how combat flows, I think is vital to how those games are constructed. And even though I was awful at Neo, I think in the modern sense, in the modern games environment, there's basically no one who does it quite that well. So, that's my alternatives to Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima. Number 1, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. Number 2, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. And number 3, Neo. 1 or 2 you can't really miss. But that's it for alternatives too, and we'll catch you in the next video.